Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Random Crafty Acts, or welcome to Random Crafty Acts. If you haven't been here before, my name is Barb. This video is a part of a playlist where I am working with card bases. And this is a card base that you can find on Cards TV. Mary has basically moved off of this blog spot over into YouTube. And if you check some of the other videos I've got, you'll find her. You can just find her by Googling under YouTube Cards TV by Mary. And I'll put a link to that in the description below. Sometimes when I start with one of these card sketches, I try to automatically make my adjustments to the things that I like to do. But instead, this time, I'm going to stick right with what she's done. Okay? Which means that we're going to start with an A2 card. Okay, I've already cut my card stock. This is an 8.5 by 11 cut in half at 5.5, and then I can fold it, and I can get two A2 size cards. I'm using my finger folder there, so let me fold this over with my bone folder, okay, which is what she's got here, 4.25 by 5.5. Okay, now she uses a mat that's 4 inches by 5.25, and I think what I'm going to do is use this piece of green in the background because it will fit right there, okay, and we'll be building pieces on top of that. And then I've kind of got my heart set on using these butterflies. And so I think I'm going to cut those for the center, which is 2 3/8 by 3.25. So that'll put all these butterflies here. All right. And then I need a mat around that, but we'll get to that in just a second. So if this is the green, then what do we want down here? Well, I could use the rest of this piece. That might work for 2 3/8. Is this 2 3/8? It might be. We'll have to check. So I could put that down there. My other option is I could put these flowers. Now that's going to be real busy up against those butterflies up there, particularly since they're cream and this is white. Okay, so I could put the flowers there and the other piece of the flowers up here at the top. Or I could split this piece. I don't know that that's going to go very well with the green. That may be another card. Okay, so if we go back to this and we put the green here, and put those butterflies out there in the middle. I've got this blue that I can put across the top for blue sky. Maybe I can put that there. I didn't think this out terribly well. Okay, so let's kind of switch this up. And instead of putting this in the background at 4, let's go with my go-to, which is to use black. Okay. And we'll see how that comes out. All right. I'm going to go ahead and use this cutter since I'm using... Okay, so if we put this black, this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. We're just going to leave it big on that. Okay, here we go. Just take a deep breath. All right, I want to use the green on the bottom and the blue on the top, and then the butterflies in here. All right, so this piece is 3 3/8 by 3 3/4. Okay, so 3 3/8. Let me get you over here where you can see what I'm doing. 3 3/8 is right there. And 3 1/4. 3 3/4 is right there. So that piece goes here. We could put the other piece and just do this all green, which would bring out the green in here. So that's 1 5/8. There we go. And 3 3/4. Okay, and that's one of the things I've noticed about here. Like here you've got a 3 3/4, and here you've got a 3 3/4, and then you've got a 1 5/8 and a 1 3/8. And so, you know, looking at how you can preserve your cardstock here. All right, so my butterfly pieces is going to be 2 3/8 by 3 1/4. Right? Yeah, 3 1/4. That's here. Okay. And then 2 3/8. And since this is black, I'm going to mat this in black as well. So get down here in my scrap bag and see if I have any pieces of black that might be big enough. Doesn't look like it. Looks like these are all strips. And then I see a piece poking up back here, but it's not big enough. Okay, we're just going to take one of my background pieces I've cut and cut that at 3 5/8 by 3 1/2. Okay, so 3 1/2 and 3 5/8. Oh, it's 2 5/8. That's all right. More strips for later. Okay, so this goes inside here. Boy, that looks big still. 2 3/8, 2 3 1/4. 3 1/2. Okay. It's not the end of the world, but that looks a little better. All right, let's start gluing. Whew, that's some big images on the back side of this. Some of my 6x6 paper was from a friend who bought 12 by 12 and then cut everything down to 6x6, which works in a lot of ways. one of the ways I feel like it doesn't work is, nope. One of the ways I feel like it doesn't necessarily work is the images for 12 by 12 paper are big because it's used for scrapbooking. And that doesn't always work as well with cards, which are made more for unless you're doing 5 by 7 cards, which I don't do because I can only get one card out of one piece of white cardstock. Okay. And I use Barely Arts, I use wet glue. Okay, so that I've got that little bit of wiggle room. Okay, and then she puts this over to the side. Ooh, I like that. Okay, and then we have to figure out what to do about our sentiment. Okay. Now, one of the ways that this might have been difficult, and when I cut this for another card, I'll need to make sure if I'm going to use the green black background. See, I can cut this way. Okay, and I'm still getting green butterflies, but they're, you know, sideways, which is okay. I mean, that would be, I could cut one of these, and I've still got green. I don't know how much of this paper I have. All right, and then for the sentiment, she puts hers on strips, which I could cut a black strip. Oh, I've got this. Well, let's do that. It's 1.5 by 2 1/4, a half an inch rather, which I think that's pretty much right at half an inch, close enough. And 2 1/4. And will my piece fit on there for 2 1/4? So I'm going to scooch that over to 2 3/4, which makes it just a little bit bigger. Yep. And we're going to put this on a piece of our card base. It's going to be cream color, since we've got the cream tones here. Okay, so in this case, I've stuck pretty much to her card sketch. This is 110-pound cover cardstock, which is like way heavy, and it's not what I thought it would be when I bought a whole bunch of it on sale back before I understood the difference between cover and index weight paper. But it still works, and it works fine as long as I'm not layering a whole lot of stuff on the outside of the card. Because then the card starts to get a little heavy, which can affect it when you're mailing, which when I'm donating, that's not really an issue. Okay, and I don't think I ended up with any little strips that I can put on the inside of the card without doing a bunch of cutting, which I don't really want to do, but I could cut that down. Like cut that piece in half and cut it off and put that on the inside of the card. But I'm going to save that because I'm still working with this. All right, so I have these little pieces. That one goes in the trash. Oh, in the recycle, excuse me. This goes in my bag down at the bottom. All right, and we ended up with our first card here. Okay. So this pretty much went the way I thought it would go, except I did end up So I'm going to write on here, use 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay. And put sentiment here. Okay. All right. In case you want to take a screenshot, that's how that ended up coming out. A couple of things I could do differently. I could not put this here. Okay. I tend to use circles instead of strips. A circle would probably go here. You could put your circle up in here. Okay, so that's a couple of things that you could do. If I did that, I might center this, okay, by pulling it down so that it was out in the middle. All right, that would be something else that I'd take a look at. I've got these papers here that I'm still trying to figure out exactly what to do with, so that will be another thing that I'll look at when it comes to this particular card sketch. So you probably see this one over in the card making community, which is where I've been working. And you'll find a link for that Facebook group below. You do have to join that Facebook group. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate it if you would do that. It helps me get these out there for beginning card makers, and which is what my objective is. There's a link below to some really basic card making if you're new to this. Okay, and it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. You're not going to start getting emails or anything like that. But it does help me get these out there to beginning card makers. Okay, if you have any questions, please post that below. This was sketch number 3, by the way, and you'll see that in the title of the YouTube video. Thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the comments below.